Can I see you a minute, please?
¿A dónde está papi? 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 ¿A dónde está papi?
Welcome, everybody to the Monday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Monday. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Echo Wrestle Dragon, Alio, Cosmic Seeking. Welcome, Michael Hassler. How's it going? I thought you'd been tuckered. Oh, man, we'll get into that. I'm not going to miss that for the world. No. I'm not going to miss that for the world. How's it going, everybody? We definitely have a lot to go through today in a short period of time. Alio with the 14 biddies, thank you so much. The Wicked Witch is canceled, yes. Good fucking riddance. Alright, hold on, folks. Let's just get everything in order. Alright. So, as many of you probably already heard, Tucker Carlson has been fired. The company has cut ties with him, whatever you want to call it. It really doesn't matter. The point is, he's no longer going to have his show. Heat, how's it going? If Tuck comes back, it's only on the internet, maybe the Daily Wire. I mean, like, yeah, the Daily Wire isn't exactly, wouldn't exactly be closed off, to having someone like that. Na 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 na. Hey, hey, hey. Goodbye. Can Tucker ask questions about unemployment? Nah, that guy is rich as fuck. That guy didn't even need a TV show. That's not the important part, okay? Listen, folks. The important part isn't whether or not he got like fired and he's out of a job. He's rich as fuck. That's not the point. The point is he doesn't have a show. That's a net positive on humanity. I've got something for the occasion, folks. Let me just bring it up. Fox News is not that rich. $787 million settlement is not chump change. I mean, to them, it's not chump change, but it's not exactly earth shattering for them. It's big, but it's not like we're gonna have to shut down the whole company big. But yeah, they'll be fine. Unless it's a tax write-off, yeah, supposedly. According to the article that we went over, yes, they might be able to use it as a tax write-off. There's a whole other voting machine case against Fox. Yeah, there's still the Smartmatic. There's still the Smartmatic case, and they're not looking to settle. According to them, they're not looking to settle. They're going for the jugular. So we'll see. Yeah, that's how things work here. Will we see anything come out of the Smartmatic thing? Lawsuit? Who knows? But hopefully they are serious about it. Tucker Carlson has 35 million monthly. I don't know. I hope they pull shit off to be aired. For it to be aired too, that would be nice. So there's like a lot of speculation as to like why Tucker Carlson was let go, and like some of it makes sense, but some of it doesn't. Like some people were saying that it was because of this Dominion suit. I mean, maybe they just felt like the liability was crossing a line, especially with the other trials coming up. Maybe they thought they would just cut their losses because like Tucker Carlson isn't going to stop. Okay, Tucker Carlson and lying are like hand in hand. Okay. His entire show is like just lie after lie after lie. That's the whole point. So could it be a way of like basically cutting their losses? I have no idea. there have been rumors that because of this trial, there was some private messages that were unearthed, where Tucker Carlson was a little bit disparaging about the CEOs or whatever, and they got pretty angry about it when they found out as this suit was unfolding before it settled, and that kind of caused the rift. I don't know. The answer to all life problems, Sue. The answer to this problem, well, part of it, yes. If it gets into court, Smartmatic will thrash Fox. I mean, if they have the same A game like Dominion's lawyers have, then yes. How many lawsuits have an expiration date? I don't know if this has an expiration date, does it? Because it's already in process. You could either take it to court, however long it takes to figure it out, or the parties could settle like they did with Dominion. I don't know if like a case has like a lawsuit has an expiration date per se. Once it's underway until it gets resolved. Those messages about Carlson's knowledge of Trump's falsehoods are dynamite. Yeah, but it's not just Tucker Carlson though. Like that's what I'm like trying to figure out what exactly what the reason was. I mean, maybe because he was the biggest voice, but every single one of those fuckers was doing the same thing. And clearly Fox doesn't have a problem with lying, so it's not the lying. Who knows? Who knows? Because if it was about like the whole election thing, like all of them lied about it. Knowingly. On purpose. Trump's sexual assault on yeah. Who knows what's gonna happen with that one. Smartmatic has to take it to court and win. They have no other way of staying in business. Gotcha. This morning they were still running ads for Tucker's show tonight, so whatever it was, it happened quick. That I did not know, the simulacra, so who knows? At this point, I've seen so many like different speculations, but to be quite frank, we just don't know. We just don't know. It is an issue for Fox as they conspired to broadcast trash and lies out in the open. Yeah, I mean, like, but they, lying isn't exactly a problem for Fox, right? If Tucker gets $35 million money, firing Tucker saves money, I guess. But you can also, that's just their business model, exactly. But you can also think about it this way, Alio. How many viewers does Tucker bring? He's like carrying the whole damn network on his back. So yeah, they don't have to pay him $35 million. But think about it this way. How much money does Tucker bring in? So whatever it is must have been egregious enough to let their top propagandist go. Whatever it was egregious enough for that to happen, because like, I mean, it's a business at the end of the day. They may have tied Tucker with a hush/no competition deal. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out later if there was any deals involved, any contracts that were broken. I don't know. Yeah, but truth be told, we just don't know. Maybe we'll find out later. I just don't know. NADs are very common. Probably, it might be the case. Let's hope he retires and doesn't run for president. I don't know if he'll run for president. NDA, gotcha. According to the chairman of Fox, Rupert Murdoch personally made the decision to fire Carlson. Now, who knows? Maybe it was like a split, second decision that Rupert Murdoch decided, like, you know what, this guy isn't worth it, and that was the end. Maybe it's just that simple. Maybe it's as simple as, look, this is too much liability. We still have more lawsuits on the way. We just can't keep going. Who knows? Carlson for president with Trump as VP? No, it would be the other way around. Do you think Trump is going to allow himself to be VP? No way. No way. Honestly, I don't see Tucker like running for office. I don't see him like doing that. It sends a message that even the guy with the highest ratings does not get to survive this disaster. I mean, like, yeah, ideally, that should have happened a very long time ago, but this isn't like to pat Fox News on the back. You know what I'm saying? This is like congratulating the arsonist for helping the firefighters put out the fire he started. Does that make sense? Hannity, Pirro, and Waters are all still there. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. I don't know exactly if it's because of this whole like fallout. Maybe it was to set an example because he was the highest like ratings. He had the highest numbers, so he caused the most. I mean, just effectively, he caused the most problems, and that's why they got rid of him. I don't know. Maybe they think that the rest of them are inconsequential in comparison to what Tucker did. I don't know. Who knows? This might be something completely different, not even related. This might not even be related to the whole like election stuff. Who knows? Who knows? Don B? You mean Don Lemon? Don Lemon, whatever his name is. Between Tucker and Lemon, MSNBC dropped the ball not firing Joe Scarborough. True. I mean, yeah, Lemon is cringe as fuck, but... Oh, Don Bongino. Yeah, but didn't he leave, though? Because he wasn't able to negotiate. A contract or something like that. And they just left. Did you see Trump do the full-on Nazi with his homeless and LGBT camp? No. Do you have like a video? Is it on video? Maybe you could send it to me. Anyways, all right, folks, we got to start some headlines. We got to start to get the ball rolling. Yes, we'll be talking about the Tucker Carlson stuff, but we've got a few things to go through. It was in an interview? Gotcha. An interview where? All right, so I think we should probably, well, let's start here. Yeah.
I'd like to bring up one of the big.
This is Marjorie Taylor Greene, rock star of the Republican Party. Pretty much one of the faces of the Republican Party as we know it right now. Essentially calling TikTok influencer Dylan Mulvaney one of the biggest pedophiles in America today. That's her words. MTG is now Marjorie Taylor Greene is now a reporter with the creepy music and videos. Oh no, she's not a reporter.
I'd like to bring up one of the biggest pedophiles in America today. His name is Dylan Mulvaney, and I won't be referring to him as a she or her. Let's go ahead and play this video. I'd like to bring up one of the biggest.
Yeah, so I mean, like this is straight from her mouth. Baddie, like baddie is in like a Nazi. Anyways, yeah. So this is coming off the back of the other comment that she said, that like all Democrats are pedophiles, and then like, the most like weakest civility politics response from the 60 Minutes host was like, that's mean, that's not true. No, fuck this bitch. Honestly, this is completely uncalled for. The fact that this person is saying that all Democrats are pedophiles and then has the audacity to be like, hey, large trans TikTok influencer is, quote, one of the biggest pedophiles in America today. Do you know why she says that? Do you know why she says that? This is terrible. Is she exempt from being sued for defamation? She shouldn't be. I don't know how that would work, Sharpie Diesel. Funny thing is, about all this, I don't know a single trans person doesn't think Mulvaney is creepy. The idea is that there's some sort of trans vanguard is ludicrous. Nobody I've ever met identifies as a Dylan Mulvaney stan. Her engagement appears to be almost entirely angry right-wing people. Haters make her famous. Yeah, like that's not the point. That's not the point. That isn't the point. You know, that isn't the point. The point here is that she's using this and carte blanche essentially painting Democrats, painting a large trans influencer as, quote, one of the biggest pedophiles in America today. Why do you think they do that? Why do you think they do that? It's because at that point, if you can brand your enemy as one of the most horrific things that you could possibly think of, because, like, you know, how do I say this? One of the worst things that you could do, or one of the worst things that you could be accused of, is being a pedophile. And that kind of excuses anything that is done to you. running straight to the bottom. Exactly. Trump promises, just send it to me. Yeah, just send it to me. It's because they want people to start killing Democrats and trans people. That's the only reason why you would do that. Because it's obviously not true. There's no indication that Dylan Mulvaney is a pedophile. There's just literally no evidence for this. She's just making that up. And then she deleted the podcast because she knew that at that point there could be some potential legal ramifications. But of course, the internet is forever, and if it's not going away. This is completely inexcusable. Okay? This is completely inexcusable. The way she's been talking, the way she's been saying, like, oh, Democrats are all pedophile, Democrats are all pedophiles, and then when, like, asked, or I guess had, like, the most minimal pushback ever, she then doubles down on it, saying all Democrats are pedophiles. You know what that means, right? It means kill them. That's what she's telling her audience. It means kill them. Do you know why she's going on her podcast and calling Dylan Mulvaney a trans woman, one of the biggest pedophiles in America today? It's because she wants her audience to have a picture in their mind that if a trans woman, Dylan Mulvaney, is one of the biggest pedophiles in America today, they're all pedophiles. And you know what we do to pedophiles, right? That's the logic that this is going to. Dylan is so wholesome, lies, just blatant lies. I mean, to be frank, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know much about Dylan Mulvaney. All I know is that she's a trans woman, and she did one commercial for 48 seconds for Bud Light, and the right lost their shit. The right lost their shit because of a 48-second commercial and one commemorative can. Or Doxer stalked them? No. They want trans people and Democrats dead. It's not about stalking or doxing them. They want them dead. It's not so much as a commercial as a paid spot on her channel, not something played anywhere else. Yeah, like what's it called? The sponsorship, right? Like an ad read, you know. Like an ad read, like how I did when I got like a sponsor to do an ad read. Yeah. The video is so innocuous. Yeah, it's literally like the biggest like nothing burger. I've watched a 48-second video. It's just a ad read or a sponsorship. That's it. And they lost their shit. And they lost their shit because of it. She's redirecting everyone's hate and fear in the wrong direction. Well, no. She's doing this on purpose. Are you talking about she being Marjorie Taylor Greene? No, she's doing this on purpose. No, she knows exactly where she's redirecting all that hate and fear to. It's still criminal? I mean, it should be. It's essentially stochastic terrorism. When you brand somebody a pedophile, I mean, like, how disgusting of a human being do you have to be to go this low, okay? How disgusting of a human being do you have to be to go this low off the back of the other comment of calling all Democrats pedophiles. If you had said that in the UK, you'd get nicked for it. We have a lot of free speeches, okay? I got your video. All right. We're going to watch that next. My point is that you have to be very vigilant with this kind of rhetoric, okay? With this kind of rhetoric, especially all these people from like the far right. What's his face? God, Michael Knowles. Michael Knowles talking about eradicating transgenderism. You've got like Marjorie Taylor Greene, a fucking lawmaker. A lawmaker who, and this is true, still is in Congress for some reason. Has not been expelled. Using language like all Democrats are pedophiles, points out at a very big trans TikTok influencer and calling her one of the biggest pedophiles in America today, to make that connection in your head. Yes, if one trans big trans influencer, pedophile, gotcha. They're all pedophiles. All Democrats are pedophiles, gotcha. We know what to do. Like, message received. This is absolutely unacceptable. The fact that she's still a fucking congressperson is wild to me. Is unbelievable to me. And by the way, this is the Republican Party. Make no mistake about it. This is the Republican Party. They can and they will implement a theocratic authoritarian state. Do not underestimate these people. Do not underestimate these people. This is conservative playbook around the world. They fearmonger. It's the right-wing playbook. Yes. Yes, that's true. That's true, but this is beyond. Okay? This is beyond. This, for all intents and purposes, is stochastic terrorism. This, for all intents and purposes, is stochastic terrorism. Marjorie Taylor Greene is supporting a traitor for leaking the top secret. Yeah, I mean, she doesn't give a shit about this country. It would not surprise me. The fact that this person is still in Congress is beyond wild to me. Because, like, this is crossing a line. This is crossing a line. And the sad part is, that all these supporters, the cult members, all these cult members absolutely applaud this and salivate at the idea of executing their opposition. Because that's the point, right? That's why you brand your opposition like the worst thing that you could possibly think of, so that it's okay to do that to them, right? They've been calling Democrats baby killers for decades. Yeah, for sure. This isn't like new, but this is something else. Because like now I feel like because of social media and the internet and the reach and audience and the type of people that listen to her and the type of people that are in the Republican Party, this is different because the chances of actually carrying out the actions that these people want are becoming more and more likely. Does that make sense? Reminds me a lot of the 90s anti-abortion, anti-gay stuff. Oh yeah, no, the rhetoric and the ideas haven't really changed. Because they're conservatives. It's the same bullshit, same rehashed bullshit. I think the difference now is because of social media, they've managed to find a much bigger platform. They're in more positions of power. They're in specific important positions of power, and the cult members are more willing to act on like the whole stochastic terrorism thing. That's what worries me. You see it play out on IRL. People who are emboldened to confront people in marginalized communities for no reason except hate. Yep. It's the same thing with this with this whole groomer rhetoric. I don't think it's much different. They had talk radio. Rush Limbaugh had about 20 million listeners every day. Jesus. Yikes. Maybe it's because I'm seeing it more and more and more. I'm not saying it's not bad now. I'm just saying that things being this bad isn't new. Gotcha. Maybe because I'm experiencing it like the way I'm seeing it, because obviously like back in Rush Limbaugh's days, I obviously wasn't, politically anywhere. Anyways, the point being is that this is incredibly dangerous, and this needs to be paid attention to. This needs to be paid attention to and pushed back as hard as possible. So Michael Hassler, you think it's worse? That's the thing. I wasn't around. So, back then. They were bombing abortion clinics and beating gay men to death. That did happen. Yes. That did happen. You think it's worse? I mean, coming from this perspective, it's pretty freaking bad. Coming from this perspective, it's pretty freaking bad. And like, I'm thinking that I think that the two important factors here, I mean, this is my opinion. I think that the two important factors are social media, the ability to reach even more than talk radio. the ability to reach more people faster. Everything is in like real time, essentially. And the fact that some of these people are in power, where that may not have been exactly the case all the time. And I think the second factor here that again, this is my opinion, that I see as worrisome is that these cult members are more willing to act on these stochastic kind of stochastic terrorism, like calls to action, you know? Marjorie Taylor Greene shouting because she wants power. Does Marjorie Taylor Greene want to be VP? I don't know. I don't know. I think she just wants her opposition dead. It can't be any clearer than that. I don't know. Is it power? Yeah, probably. But basically my point and my kind of like reason for bringing any of this up is because it's not just some like person on the internet. It's not just some random lawmaker. And they're not just saying mean words, right? This is a call to action. In between the lines, there's a call to action here. And they're trying to control the youth because if they know, yeah, of course, worst thing to happen is members of Congress posing as celebrities. Yep. That's a good point. Because what I'm gathering here is that she wants her opposition dead. That's what I'm gathering here. All right, folks. Republicans are fundamentally incompatible with democracy. Let's take a look at this direct quote. Republican Matt Bliss in Minnesota state legislator said the quiet part out loud. Quote, the national popular vote. I know some people say that it strengthens each individual vote, but this brings us closer to a democracy, which you know is not a good thing. Yeah. Anything that moves us closer to a democracy is not a good thing, according to Republicans. Mind you, this isn't the thought process of just one Republican. This is a pretty solid position for the Republican Party. They don't believe in democracy. It's not a good thing. It's kind of why they insist on calling the United States like, oh, it's not a democracy, it's a republic. Whatever, dudes. They bemoan this idea because ultimately they are not democratically inclined. They are authoritarian inclined. I keep telling folks, if the Republican Party should obtain power, and I mean real power, like if they win the House, the Senate, the presidency, they already have the Supreme Court, they can and they will implement a theocratic authoritarian state. This is not an exaggeration. This is what they will do. They don't believe in democracy. They bemoan this idea. During the debate of an omnibus spending bill, they have a third of the states. Yep. During a debate of on an omnibus bill, spending bill, the Minnesota state legislator, Republican lawmakers said that expanding democracy in the U.S. is, quote, not a good thing. The comment was made by Republican Matt Bliss, who opposed elements of the bill during the debate within the Minnesota State House of Election, Finance, and Policy Committee on Friday. The bill deals primarily with funding for state and local elections, but also includes a number of election reforms, among them granting 17-year-olds the ability to register to vote in upcoming elections if they will be 18 by election day, as well as instituting an automatic voter registration system. That's pretty cool. Another aspect of the bill that Republicans objected to was signing Minnesota onto the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact, an agreement by many states to award their electoral college votes to the winner of the popular vote, no matter the outcome of their own jurisdictions. The compact is seen as a legal pathway for the popular vote system to be enacted for presidential elections without the need for an amendment to the Constitution, which could take years to complete and would be difficult to pass. The U.S. Constitution affords the states the right to determine how to award electoral votes by selecting the president. Every state in the country currently does through a popular vote among its own residents, but that wasn't always the case, particularly in the country's early years. Advocates for the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact would use that provision in the Constitution to award a majority of the electoral votes to the winner of the National Popular Vote instead. 15 states, plus Washington, D.C., are currently signed on to the agreement, which can only be enforced once the states that are signed on represent a majority of the Electoral College, 270 votes. If Minnesota agrees to join the compact, these states would still only represent 205, meaning the compact wouldn't be enforced. If the agreement among the states to elect the president by national popular vote governs the appointed of presidential electors, the state canvassing board shall declare duly elected candidates for presidential electors and alternates identified in accordance with the provisions of that agreement. The bill includes parts dealing with the compact advance on a partisan vote, with 8 Democrats in the committee backing the measure and 3 Republicans in opposition. I keep hearing in this committee that we're a democracy and we need to support the democracy, Bliss argued before the vote. According to a report from blogger Chris Lebenthal, we're not a democracy, we're a constitutional republic. So do you see where this comes from? This whole like semantics game? Because they fundamentally don't believe in democracy. They don't like democracy. And as this article continues to state, Bliss's claim that the U.S. is not a democracy is often used by conservatives to dismiss policies that most Americans support. Correct. Representative Lauren Boebert recently used this argument to denounce the wishes of a majority of Americans to create new gun laws, for example, as did Republicans in Arizona last fall in an attempt to pass legislation to restrict access to voting. The national popular vote, I know some people say it strengthens each individual vote, but and like these are the same people that in one hand will decry and be and screech about this idea that elections are being stolen and that every vote matters and that everyone's vote needs to count because of election integrity and all this grandstanding, and simultaneously they will say, oh shit, we can't do anything that strengthens each individual vote because that would bring us closer to a democracy, and that's not a good thing. Do you see the mind games that are being played here, the doublespeak that's being done here? So on one hand, we're supposed to make sure that election integrity is paramount and that everyone's vote counts, and that if there are discrepancies in the vote count, it must be rectified and all this and blah 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 blah. But simultaneously say, actually, moving towards a system that would strengthen each individual vote would actually make us a little bit more democratic, and we are actually not really in favor of that. Laws and policies have no correlation to what people support. True. Very true. Unfortunately. Bliss falsely asserted that voters in large states like California would overrule Minnesota voters if the bills passed, and that no candidate for president would ever again originate from Minnesota. A nonsensical assertion that is not based on compact's wording whatsoever. Yeah, and like again, what are you talking about? So this is like making the argument that the governor elections should be done with a mini electoral college in the in each state, because the state that has the most populous city would decide the governor. But that just doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense. It's very simple. Whoever wins the most votes wins. We do that for literally every other election. Governorship, state legislatures, federal legislatures. I mean, arguably, governor and state legislators are more are more important, and we do that by popular vote. We just need more people to realize this is a class war masquerading as a culture war, right? But the conservatives are adamant about keeping their base on this whole culture war thing, because the moment that cracks, it's it's done. Yeah, you're right, Sharpie Diesel. Because the moment that cracks, it's done. Mayhem Hippie, how's it going? Indeed, because Minnesota is a swing state, close to half of all voters' wishes go ignored each presidential election year. Those voters' opinions would have more impact under the national popular vote interstate compact than without it. Bliss also dismissed the fact that popular vote system is favored by a majority of voters in the country. Right. So why don't we do it this way? We literally do every other election this way. I don't understand the reasoning behind it. It's not popular, which it is. Despite Bliss's claim, however, polling from Pew Research last fall shows that nearly 2/3 of Americans, 63%, support a model that would select a president based on popular vote. So they're opposed to popular vote. Yes, Republicans are opposed to popular vote because he tells you right here, it brings us closer to a democracy, which is not a good thing. So he's pretty clear on where this stands. Yeah. Cool. While most Republicans are opposed to changing the current system, a sizable portion, 42%, support abolishing the Electoral College. Republicans' opposition to ending the Electoral College may have less to do with their supposed concerns about states' rights and more with the fact that they rarely win presidential elections through the popular vote. Correct. The reason why is because like the Republican Party would like cease to be as viable as it is right now. We, the nation of free people and democracy, are close to democracy, and that's bad. Yeah, of course, because no, they're not idiots. They know exactly what they're saying. They don't want democracy. They bemoan this idea of democracy, and they just don't like it. They don't want a democracy. They don't want us closer to a democracy, closer to a better democracy. That's their goal. Their goal is to make sure that doesn't happen. Republicans have won the popular vote for the presidency once in the past 30 years. Yeah, so that would be like GG for them, and like, you know, power. They can't really accept that. Maybe they're just not that popular. It's easier for a Christian fascist can control us through a minority. Exactly. That's the point. That's the end goal right there. You said it. That's the end goal right there. That is the end game right there. Since 1992, Republicans have won just 3 presidential races, 2000, 2004, and 2016. In 2 of those races, the election was decided through the Electoral College, with the winner losing the popular vote. It's all good. It was understandable. Yeah. So, there you have it, folks. We're no longer under this very thinly veiled veneer of like, yeah, dude, we're all about freedom and liberty and democracy. None of that. None of that. None of that. The quicker, more people understand this. The quicker more people understand this, the better the better we'll all be. The quicker more people can kind of encapsulate this statement right here, this little quote right here. The national popular vote, I know some people say it strengthens each individual vote, but that brings us closer to a democracy, which, you know, is not a good thing. Like, if we can just kind of like ingrain that into as many people as possible, that this is the Republican Party. Make no mistake, this is not just one guy, okay? This is the belief of the Republican Party. This is their platform. Ask them. Ask them. This is why they play these silly semantic games of, we're not a democracy, we're a representative republic. Shut up. This is exactly what it's about. Freedom is not for you unless you're a white Christian. Correct. This is exactly what they would like to do. Are we the only country that has like an electoral college? It's ridiculous. It doesn't make no sense. Not anymore. Doesn't make sense at all. Didn't Gore win the popular vote and lose the electoral? Yeah, he was. He didn't like. He was installed by the Supreme Court. Sorry, Bush was installed by the Supreme Court. But yeah, he lost in the Supreme Court case. GW was installed by the Supreme Court. Correct. Oh man, that's so wild that actually happened. That's so wild. So like whenever you hear this is a perfect example. Thank you for bringing that up. Mayhem and the Simulacra. Thank you for bringing that up. Like whenever these people talk about like freedom, democracy, and all this other stuff, like just remember that whole entire debacle, and then remember this quote. Okay. Exactly, Mayhem Hippie. Came down to Florida. This quote? This is Republican state legislator Matt Bliss in Minnesota. All right, folks, switching gears really quickly. Supreme Court deals blow to oil companies by turning away climate cases. Small lowercase w, folks. Small lowercase w. The Supreme Court on Monday allowed lawsuits brought by municipalities seeking to hold energy companies accountable for climate change to move forward in a loss for business interests. The court turned away oil company appeals in 5 cases involving claims brought by cities and municipalities in Colorado, Maryland, California, Hawaii, and Rhode Island as part of efforts to hold businesses accountable for the effects of climate change. Al Gore was from Tennessee back when Democrats still had a chance to do something. Yep. How wild would it would it have been if Al Gore won the election instead of George Bush? Could I have my ticket to the other timeline? I want off this damn ride. Right, I want off this ride right fucking meow. Oh man. I don't were you here for the initial story with like the Marjorie Taylor Greene thing? The court turned away oil companies' appeals in 5 cases, yada yada. The relatively narrow legal issues whether the lawsuits could be heard in a state court instead of federal court. Litigants care because of the widely held view that plaintiffs had a better chance of winning damage awards in state court. Big oil companies have been desperate to avoid trials in state courts where they will be forced to defend their climate lies in front of juries. And today the Supreme Court declined to bail them out, said Richard Wiles, president of the Center for Climate Integrity and Environmental Group. Nice. Remember when the biggest controversy was being unable to spell potato? True. What did she do now? Oh, she said that on video. She said on video that Dylan Mulvaney, who's like a trans woman influencer on TikTok, was one of the biggest pedophiles in America right now. That's what she said, and she deleted that podcast. But the internet is forever. The internet is forever, and that's coming off the all Democrats are pedophiles statement that she did on 60 Minutes. Yeah. Yeah, it's all over TikTok right now. Wow. And like the reason why it's notable is because the intent behind it. The intent behind it is to brand all trans people as pedophiles. And well, all bets are off. I mean, you know, you can read between the lines, right? A few months before Quayle misspelled potato, Clinton left the campaign trail to execute a guy who wanted to save his dessert for after his execution. Jesus. Is that a real story? Plenty of awful controversies going back forever. Sheesh. Yikes. Wow. Can we celebrate that Tucker Carlson is no more? Oh yeah, we'll get to that. It was to show that he was tough on crime. Oh, yeah, no, that's before my time. That's before my time. Meaning that I was either way too little or not born yet. Depending on when that was. 92? Oh no, I was a baby. No way. I was like a baby about to go through Hurricane Andrew. Business groups expressed disappointment in the Supreme Court's decision with Phil Goldberg, a lawyer with the National Association of Manufacturers legal arm, saying that the climate issue should be dealt with at the national or international level. Nah, get wrecked. The challenge of our time is developing technologies and public policy so that the world can produce and use energies in ways that are affordable for people and sustainable for the planet. Well, fossil fuels aren't it. It should not be figuring out how to creatively plead lawsuits that seek to monetize climate change and provide no solutions. No, I think this is a gross mischaracterization of what's happening. What's happening is you are being held to account for the stuff that your products have done. Besides, I don't see any of these companies admitting what their own research has said. I have not seen these companies admit this. I have not seen these companies say, you know what? We did cause all this problem, so now we're going to fix it. No way. These companies aren't going to do any of that. So, no, it's not about monetizing climate change or whatever. It would never happen. The Biden administration urged the court not to hear the case, and in a change to the legal position taken by the Trump administration, said a lawsuit and others like it should be heard in state courts. Brett Kavanaugh noted in the brief order that he would have taken up one of the cases. Samuel Alito did not participate, likely because he owns stock in oil companies. Nice meme. Things aren't going to change until CEOs start seeing prison time. Yep. What I miss? Republicans being incompatible with democracy. And as far as this article goes, we got a small W. We got a small W. It looks like these climate lawsuits are going to proceed in state courts. The Supreme Court has chosen to not take any of this on. So they will be in the state courts, which is more favorable to the climate justice movement. The government will never enforce or support laws to make it happen because they would lose so much money. Super PACs are effing bad. True. Greed is going to kill us all. Also true. Yeah, but birth control, gotta put a stop to that. Yeah, that's the taking care of the real issues, huh? Planet's on fucking fire. But we need to make sure that, a pill is banned. Cool. Nobody wants to bite the hand that shovels money into your wallet. True. To be fair, Bipedal, I think that they extended the whole Mifepristone thing. In all 5 cases, companies like BP, Chevron, and Shell had all lost in lower courts. The municipalities' lawsuits say that they have been harmed by the effects of climate change caused by carbon emissions that oil companies are heavily responsible for. They did? Wait, they banned it or they shut... As of Friday, it was still legal. Okay, yeah. They pushed it off. They pushed it off. In an earlier case in the Supreme Court in 2021, ruled in favor of oil companies on a procedural issue in similar lawsuit brought by the city of Baltimore. On a separate legal issue, the court, in a major ruling last year, limited the authority of the EPA to address climate change under provision of the Clean Air Act. And that's it. Okay. So small W, that's pretty good. We'll follow this for more updates.
Orange Rant, the failed former and wannabe future president Donald Trump is promising mandatory homeless camps. He looks completely disoriented. He looks swollen as usual, his right eye almost completely shut. But he says that he will ban homelessness. Hey, who knew homelessness had such a simple solution? Just ban it. By the way, ban the virus while you're at it. Let's get rid of everything. And he says that there will be tent camps for the homeless outside of cities. This is so deranged. We heard him talk about it at rallies.
Yeah, so this is red flag. I don't think Big Pharma will let them ban it. Maybe.
But it is now being put.
Maybe. But also remember that like we're dealing with very strong, like dogmatic activist justices like Amy Coney Barrett, Clarence Thomas. We're dealing with like not your normal like, oh, we can just pay, lobby our way into this. No, we're talking about like ideologically driven people here. Amy Coney Barrett, yeah, I don't know.
Put out as an actual idea of policy, if you can call it policy, for Trump's 2024 run. Let's take a look at this, then I'm going to talk to you about the ugly dystopian history of camps for people.
Yeah, if they can ban this, then it means that it can be for any drug, though. Yeah. I heard EPA will boost regulations to effectively make ICE vehicles illegal by the 2030 gradually. What? That would be a good meme. If that happens, that would be great, Maple Leaf Dragon. If that happens, that would be great.
Ban urban camping wherever possible.
Urban camping.
Violators of these bans will be arrested, but they will be given the option to accept treatment and services if they're willing to be rehabilitated. Many of them don't want that, but we'll give them the option. We will then open up large parcels of inexpensive land, bring in doctors, psychiatrists, social workers, and drug rehab specialists, and create tent cities where the homeless can be relocated and their problems identified. But we'll open up our cities again, make them livable and make them beautiful.
What? Cities have never been closed, dude. They're going to reduce the amount of CO2 emissions allowed from vehicles to the point where only plug-in hybrids will be able to pass. Gotcha. See this Republican push for one reason. There's an end game to all this. It's effing terrifying. Yeah, this is this is what? Their attempt to make a convention of states? In which case, if they do, a convention of states can effectively amend the Constitution. Yes. So that kind of puts into perspective how important state elections are, right? That kind of puts into perspective how important state elections are. There's no rules to this convention of state. Any topic is fair game. Right, because the whole point of being able to convene this amount of states is to amend the Constitution, because it is a majority. It is an overwhelming plurality of states that can have this authority. Yes, you can do a convention of states and then basically rewrite, whatever, amend the Constitution as you see fit. And from there, if you manage to have the convention of states, from there you can basically do whatever you want. You need diapers now? True. Like, I don't know, man. The algorithm serves me up all kinds of freaking ads in hopes that maybe if I click on something, maybe if I talk about something enough times, it thinks that I'll need it, and eventually it'll hit on something that I like. But the fact that, like, I try not to touch any of these ads, to not give it any more information, it'll just keep giving me the most random ads until something clicks, right? I mean, that's how I think it works. I don't know. Either way, for the record, for the public record, no, I do not need diapers, okay? I just want to put that into the public record, okay? It shouldn't be. That's not what our Constitution is about. Democracy will die, and hope the UN would step in at that point. Well, you heard it from the Republican state lawmaker. Democracy is a bad thing. Democracy is a bad thing. This is what it's all about. Mayhem Hippie, this is what it's all about. You heard the guy. James Napper Tandy, welcome. You don't need them because you already bought them. You mean true? True. The U.S. position with the UN is don't talk to us unless you need something blown up. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so like any facade or any thin veneer of like conservatives giving a shit about like democracy or liberty or freedom, like not all that is bullshit. We can just like, the faster we just like accept that they don't care, the faster we accept the fact that like these people want a theocratic authoritarian state. I don't mean just like us. I mean like the majority or the plurality of people start accepting that. The faster these people become less and less relevant, and the better it is for everybody, okay? The better it is for everybody. But yeah, this is what it's all been about. They don't give a shit about like freedom, or they don't even give a shit about the Constitution. To be quite frank, they don't give a shit about the Constitution because like the whole goal based on that article is to have a convention of states to rewrite it or to amend it. So they don't even give a shit about that. They just want to remake it in their image, which is they want to remake it into a theocratic authoritarian state. That's what they want. True. People thought it was a good meme. Trump calling the head of the Republican Party and former president of the United States calling to suspend the Constitution. Yeah, they don't really give a shit about it at all, despite what they claim. They don't give a shit about any of it. They don't give a shit about freedom of speech. They don't give a shit about like liberty or the life, liberty, or the pursuit of happiness. They don't give a shit about any of that. They'll throw all of that away if it means that they get to be the theocratic authoritarian state. That's what they want. That's it.
Yeah.
Ban urban camps.
So listen, pretending to take this seriously for a second. I'm not big on tent cities, and there's a lot of historical precedent for these sorts of camps being some of the ugliest things that societies do. I mean, not only is it inhumane and violates basic human rights, it also doesn't work. And I always think it's important when we talk about these things to talk to those who might support such a policy, not only ideologically, but also pragmatically. So the first problem is that banning homelessness in this way.
Yeah, it's not going to work. Okay, so the root cause of homelessness needs to be dealt with. A lot of it is socioeconomic circumstances. A lot of homelessness is rooted in socioeconomic circumstances. Capitalism. All right? That's it. If you alleviate these socioeconomic circumstances, you provide people with food, housing, education, healthcare, you start to see some of that go away. A portion of homelessness does have to do with mental health and mental illness. Okay. Well, part of the of my policies that I just mentioned is healthcare. Get these people the assistance that they need. They shouldn't be out on the street, especially if they're going through something. It's not right, and it's not fair. That's right. They care about their rights and F everyone else. Right.
It assumes that homelessness is a choice or a behavior that you can eliminate with the right punishment.
Correct.
And that's a flawed assumption at its core. It ignores that homelessness has so many complex factors that causes it. Poverty is, of course, part of it. It's simple to say, well, homeless people are poor people are more likely to become homeless. Yes, that's absolutely true. Mental illness is a component. Addiction is a component. Lack of affordable housing in cities is a component. Lack of effective public transportation that can link lower income residential areas with areas where the jobs are is a factor. I could go on. There's so many different factors, but the takeaway should be is if you just criminalize homelessness, it doesn't really solve anything. So when you try to ban homelessness and you try to force homeless people to live in a tent camp outside of a city where I guess they would be bused to it. Once you're there, there's no jobs. You're in the middle of nowhere and there's a tent camp and that's it. You're doing nothing to address the underlying conditions that got people to be homeless in the first place. But what you do is you further marginalize them. You stigmatize the homeless population because you're actually separating them and saying, oh, if you're homeless, you're being brought out there to the camp where you have no shot at.
But yeah, imagine like providing people with like basic necessities. Socialism. No, dude, that's not socialism. Every time I see a Walton or Davos Mega yacht, I think this is why we have homeless camps. Yep. True.
Getting a job. I mean, forget about it. And you actually perpetuate the problem and make it even worse. Now, if you want to look at some historical examples of this type of approach to homelessness, there are many historical failures. In the 20th century, many countries implemented mandatory institutionalization programs for homeless people. And the idea was, we're going to provide shelter and treatment, which is arguably a nice thing, right? I mean, when Trump says we're going to get people things that they need, we'll get them shelter, we'll get them food, we'll get them treatment, at least on an interim basis, once we've completely separated them from society. We know from the 20th century examples that they end up being overcrowded, unsanitary, abusive, very little effective treatment provided, stigmatizing and alienating and segregating. So it doesn't actually accomplish anything. And what you end up with is with many of these homeless folks essentially trapped in these places for years with conditions they may have worsening, chances of reintegrating into society dramatically decreasing, and meanwhile, the homeless population continues to swell. Another example of this is looking specifically at tent cities to house homeless populations. In the early 2000s, there were cities in the Pacific Northwest that established some tent cities for homeless people. And the idea is temporary shelter. And exactly what I just described to you is what took place. They became overcrowded. They became unsanitary. They weren't even properly funded. There was limited access to basic amenities. Running water was scarce. Sanitation facilities were leaving much to be desired. And they actually became hotspots for crime and drug abuse, which only made the problem worse. Marginalized people, stigmatized them, and you're not making it more likely that they will be what Republicans like to describe as productive members of society. So instead of punishing with further marginalizing programs for a population that's already vulnerable, we should instead be working towards what causes the homelessness.
Right.
Imagine you say, hey, look, all these homeless people, let's not even think about what made them homeless. Let's just ship them off in buses to the desert and have them live in tents indefinitely until what? Until what happens? So
Pacman is against
poverty, lack of
socialism.
affordable
True.
housing,
Pacman is
lack
a lib. Okay, so just to be clear, Pacman is a lib. All right, he's not a socialist.
support for people in their communities rather than by separating them. These are the types of things that will help people reintegrate into society. And many of these programs that are proposed and often underfunded, they're actually quite revenue neutral because yes, they cost money, but if you care mostly about the finances, they eventually generate government revenue by getting some fraction of those people back to work, paying taxes, spending money in the community. So there's even a fiscal conservatism argument to be made. Swollen Trump, though, I don't think he's ready to have this conversation. I love my car, which is electric.
That's a good pause. That's a good pause face. Let's not pretend that these would not turn into work camps. I mean, if it's a Republican proposing it, you know, you gotta... Maybe the other kind of camps. If it's Republicans proposing it, won't be surprising, to be quite frank. Louisville officer who killed Breonna Taylor hired by police force in nearby county. Cool, because accountability means fuck all. Miles Cosgrove, a former Louisville police officer who shot and killed Breonna Taylor in March of 2020, became a law enforcement officer again in a nearby county. Cool. So, yeah. Yeah, this is what happens when you lie about a fucking when you fabricate the story to get a no-knock warrant, bust through the door, kill somebody, and then what? You just get to work at another nearby department? One of the factors of homelessness that isn't talked about much and is actually a cross-national trend is the fact that it disproportionately impacts men. I know from my advice work here in the UK that the majority of homelessness and precarious living people are young men. Basically always at the bottom of the list for help when it comes to shelter or living assistance. Yeah, I mean, like, bottom line is like a lot of it is socioeconomic problems, right? And a lot of it is economics. Literally. A lot of it's poverty. So if you make moves to have programs across the nation that made sure that people, regardless of who you were, if we had programs across the board that had food, housing, education, healthcare. Republicans were even too cheap to make cages for the children. Yep. But we're not too cheap to make sure that they were kept in horrible conditions. Maybe that kind of goes hand in hand, yeah. I spent some lengthy time homelessness, and it's still mostly young men. Yep. I mean, I don't doubt the statistics. I'm saying that, like, if you want to talk about, like, the root causes, I mean, start solving problems at the root, you know? The Carroll County Sheriff Office, which is about an hour drive northeast of Louisville, recently hired Cosgrove. Chief Deputy Rob Miller told the Courier Journal on Saturday, "We think he will help reduce the flow of drugs in our area." Bro, really? You think the guy who was part of a botched no-knock warrant and ended up killing somebody? Yeah, that guy? Really? Quote, "We felt like he was a good candidate to help us in our county." Yeah, until someone else fucking ends up dead. Miller added that Cosgrove had nearly 2 decades of experience. I don't give a shit if he had 10 decades. It makes no fucking difference. What crime was Breonna Taylor committing, sleeping while black? Basically, to our knowledge, she actually never ended up being, never ended up, like, being, like, there was no reason, for them to have a no-knock warrant approved. They had to bullshit, to the judge so that they would get approved. I think it was they were trying to, like, get her boyfriend or her significant other, I'm not sure. I believe they may have been tracking an ex-boyfriend, but it had nothing to do with her per se, I don't think. My recollection of the story is a little bit hazy. Jam Tomb coming in with 12. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Coming in with a party of 12. Thank you so much. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. If you guys have not been here before, we are A Difficult Truth. We do the news. We do the politics Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Appreciate it. So you guys are just coming in here at the start of this article. Essentially, one of the cops that killed Breonna Taylor is now being rehired because apparently there's no consequences. Apparently, accountability, not a thing. You could botch an entire no-knock warrant, which shouldn't exist, and then still be hired at a other police precinct. Feature, not a bug. True. The difference between you and them is that they don't think he did anything wrong. That's right. That's right. Welcome to the United Snakes, home of the thieves and land of the enslaved. True. No cop crime goes unrewarded. True, I like that saying. Yeah, but isn't that, like, behind on education, opportunity, safety, confidence, and role models? But, like, wouldn't that kind of, like, come in hand with having, like, a better, socio-economic, like, safety nets? Like, you would be, you wouldn't be as behind on education if you had, say, universal college. Opportunity comes hand in hand. Safety, well, if you have food, housing, that's safety and stability, which provides confidence. I mean, like, I think that, like, I can make an argument where all of that kind of ties in. If you have a system where people are across the board have these things, I would argue all that would follow, you know? Miller added that Cosgrove had nearly 2 decades of experience in the police force. Yeah, and he fucking killed somebody. Small detail there. The Carroll County Sheriff's declined NPR's request for comment. The hiring has garnered scrutiny in both Louisville and Carroll County. Chanel Hem, the lead organizer of Black Lives Matter Louisville, said Cosgrove's return to the police force showed the impunity often afforded to law enforcement. The way in which he can go and get another job in the same field should be illegal. True! 100%. 100%. If you kill somebody in this grossly negligent manner because your buddies, I don't know if this guy was there were several of these fucking cops that were caught lying to get the warrant, to get that no-knock warrant. So the fact that he was either involved in that or tangentially, and then botched the no-knock warrant, and then killed somebody, and then gets to have the same exact. Yeah, this would never happen in any other circumstance. This would happen in any other. This would not happen in any other circumstance. A doctor, a nurse, doing the equivalent of this, which would be like malpractice, right? They would never practice medicine again. It just wouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen. It couldn't happen. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Thank you for the follow, Felicia. The guy should just not be ever hired again. He should be in jail. Yeah, I mean, yeah. But it's just like the absurdity that this guy is just like in another police department is wild to me. Wild. I mean, yeah. Maybe. It is a common occurrence. You're right. You're right. It is a common occurrence. Yeah, you can send me that. You can send that to me in even in Discord if you want to post it. I'm reading a book called Deirdre the Destroyer. Thank you for the follow. CW Wenrich. I'm not going to be able to pronounce that. Good evening. Welcome. I'm reading a book called Walk the Walk about changing police culture and what it takes to do that. I mean, it's a bottom up thing, you know. It's norm. The police shuffle murderers and abusers around just as much as the Catholic Church does pedophiles. Yep. That's a good point. For typical citizens, we aren't able to re-enter certain fields if we're fired from them. That carries with you. Cosgrove was one of the 7 officers involved in the deadly raid inside Taylor's apartment in the middle of the night. Police who came to serve a no-knock warrant barged in Starling Taylor, 26-year-old ER technician, and her boyfriend, believing the officers were intruders. Taylor's boyfriend fired a single shot at them. Officers returned 32 shots, half of which were fired by Cosgrove. Half? Jesus Christ. 2 of its rounds struck Taylor. The FBI ballistics report showed that it was Cosgrove's bullets that killed her. Wow. He talks about it from the top down. Gotcha. Off topic, Fox News digs up inconvenient fact after Fox rants about transgender. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah. I mean, what can we say? It's Trump. In January of 2021, Louisville Metro Police Department fired Cosgrove for violating department procedures on the use of deadly force. Like, how did you think that this guy was a good fit if he can't even follow department procedures? Which, whatever, it means nothing if like they're still free. Of only YouTube rewatches. Glad to be back on Twitch where I can complain about this horrible ish with all of you instead of being in the Wi-Fi wasteland of only YouTube rewatches. I feel that. Cosgrove also violated LMPD policy by not wearing a body cam during the raid. I mean, like, this is the guy? Really? In Cosgrove's termination letter, they do love the thoughts and prayers. Yep. The interim LMPD chief, Yvette Gentry, wrote, "The shots you fired went in 3 different directions, indicating you did not verify a threat or have a target acquisition." Oh, yeah, dude, that was the problem. Yeah, damn, that was the problem. Not the fact that, like, you decided to, what, Magna? Half of 32 is, what, 16? Not the fact that you, like, magnumed the pistol. Whatever. In other words, the evidence showed that you fired wildly at unidentified subjects or targets located with the... Yeah, and then you killed them. Yeah, no, that's also a problem. But I'm saying, like, yeah, dude, and then you killed them. Cosgrove appealed the case to get his back job in November of 21, but ultimately the court upheld the department's decision to terminate. The local media outlet reported. So he was fired, and even like the courts agreed. Yeah, you're right. The simulacra, it is a problem. Felicia, somebody earlier said it best. Feature, not a bug. Feature, not a bug. The officer has not faced any criminal charges in connection with the killing. 4 officers were formally charged by the Justice Department with civil rights violations, but Cosgrove was not one of them. In 2022, the Kentucky Law Enforcement Council voted to allow Cosgrove to keep his police certification, making him eligible to work for other police departments. Wow. Cosgrove is not the first officer to be removed from a police department after misconduct, only to be hired elsewhere. The phenomenon is known as quote-unquote wandering cops. It has been an issue for decades in the U.S., part because there's a lack of national coordination to keep track of officers with a history of misconduct. Taylor's death fueled racial justice protests across the country. In the summer of 2020, that year, Louisville City Council unanimously voted to ban no-knock warrants. Well, too late. This is unbelievable. Absolutely absurd. Yeah, the reality. And the reality is, this happens a lot. This happens a lot. That's the reality. Prosecutor, Proud Boys viewed themselves as Trump's army. Cool. Ready for a, quote, all-out war, leaders of the far-right Proud Boys domestic terrorist group viewed themselves as foot soldiers fighting for Trump as former president clung to power after the 2020 election. A prosecutor said Monday at the close of a historic trial over the U.S. Capitol insurrection. After more than 3 months of testimony, jurors began hearing attorneys' closing arguments in the seditious conspiracy case accusing Proud Boys national chairman Enrique Tarrio and 4 lieutenants of plotting to forcibly stop the transfer of power from Trump to President Biden. President-elect Biden, at the time, the Proud Boys were lined up behind Trump and willing to commit violence on his behalf. 100%. 100%. Those were the stats that came after the Chauvin trial. I can't recall. Wow. The piss boys. Doesn't DeSantis have a private army in Florida? Not yet. The Florida Guard has not been complete. I don't know. Maybe? I'm going to say maybe they're working on it. Fascist snitches. Yep. Well, one of them is. These defendants saw themselves as Trump's army fighting to keep their preferred leader in power no matter what the law or courts had to say about it. The prosecutor's words underscore how the Justice Department has worked out throughout the trial to link the violence on January 6th to the rhetoric and actions of the former president. Prosecutors have repeatedly shown jurors a video clip of Trump telling the Proud Boys to stand back and stand by during his first presidential debate with Biden. Tari is one of the top targets for the Justice Department's investigation of the insurrection that erupted in the Capitol on January 6th. Tari wasn't in D.C. but that day, but is accused of orchestrating an attack from afar. True. One is a snitch. They're all fascists. Oh yeah, no, these are fascist domestic terrorists. There's no doubt about it. Stand by, not stand down. He knows who his base is. Yeah, and like even if he did say stand down, it's already like even if Trump never said the word stand back and stand by, even if you were to say like, hey, stand down, wouldn't that already be like evidence enough of like who's following him? And wouldn't that be evidence enough of his ability to convey an order and have like his foot soldiers follow it? If he said stand down and they that's the same. It's the same in my eyes. It's the same in my eyes. Because that means he's the one that's giving the orders, right? Not wanting to be argumentative, but lots of piss boys work with the feds, not just Tario. Oh, that might be true. Yeah, that's completely possible. I just don't know, but yeah, that's possible. Wouldn't surprise me. Let's put it this way: wouldn't surprise me. Something called the Florida State Guard. Yep, that's right. Anything sort of outright saying that he doesn't want their support means he's fine with literal neo-Nazi. Oh yeah, no, he's never. He's had dinner with Nick Fuentes. I don't know, like how explicit you can you be. Something called but I don't know if it's currently formed or if it has to be reformed. I'm not sure. I'm sure that eventually we'll find out, because I don't think it's completed yet. Yeah, he said stand back and stand by. Correct. Defense attorneys say there's no evidence of a conspiracy or a plan for the Proud Boys to attack the Capitol, except there was a lot of like texts and whatnot. But whatever. Nicholas Smith, attorney of former Proud Boys chapter leader Ethan Nordian, said prosecutors built their case on a misdirection and innuendo. Smith accused the prosecutors of repeatedly playing the clip of Trump from the debate to try to manipulate jurors. Does that prove some conspiracy by the men here? We all know it doesn't. No, the whole point of playing that video over and over is that the jurors won't forget that these guys were taking orders. These guys were taking orders. Whether you want to say it was explicit or not is another thing. But definitely these guys were taking orders. It's all good, Jam Tomb. Take some rest. Of course, there's no plan to attack the Capitol. It already happened. It was massive failure from them. They aren't going to attempt that again until they can ensure better control of the outcome. Wouldn't surprise me. Seditious conspiracy, a Civil War era charge that is rare and can be difficult to prove, carries a potential sentence of up to 20 years in prison. The Proud Boys also face other serious charges. Morally, a conspiracy can be unspoken, implicit, mutual understanding, reached with a wink and a nod. The Justice Department has already secured seditious conspiracy convictions against the founder and members of the far-right extremist group, also domestic terrorists. Oath Keepers is the first major trial involving the leader of the far-right Proud Boys, a neo-fascist group of self-described Western chauvinists that remains a force in mainstream Republican circles. True! Oath Keepers or Proud Boys were running Roger Stone's social media account while he was in prison. Wouldn't surprise me if either one of those were involved. The foundation of the government's case, which started with a jury selection in January, is a trove of messages the Proud Boys leaders and members privately exchanged in encrypted chats and publicly posted on social media before, during, and after the January 6th attack. The message shows Proud Boys celebrating when Trump, a Republican, told the group to stand back and stand by during the first debate with Biden, a Democrat. After the 2020 election, they raged online for weeks about baseless claims of stolen election and what would happen when Biden took office. If, quote, Biden steals this election, the Proud Boys will be political prisoners. We won't go quietly, I promise. Jurors also saw the strings of gleeful messages that the Proud Boy members posted during the January 6th insurrection. A group of the Proud Boys marched to the Capitol that day. Some entered the building after the mob of Trump supporters overwhelmed police lines. Make no mistake, Tara wrote in one message, we did this. I mean, that's as explicit as it can be. We did this. Prosecutors showed multiple videos from January 6th during their closing statements, including one that appeared to show defendant Zachary Rell spraying police officers with pepper spray outside the Capitol. Confronted with the images during their testimony earlier, trial, Rell said that he didn't remember doing such things and couldn't tell whether it was him. Monroe said the images showed he did it and lied under oath about it. Not surprised. Tario, a Miami resident, Nordine, and Rell are on trial with Joseph Biggs and Dominic Pezzola. Nordian of Auburn, Washington, was a Proud Boy chapter president. Biggs of Ormond Beach, Florida, was a self-described Proud Boys organizer. Rell was a president of a Proud Boy chapter in Philadelphia. Pezzola was a Proud Boy member of Rochester, New York. Tario was arrested in Washington 2 days before the January 6th insurrection on charges that he burned a church's BLM banner during a earlier march in the city. Tario heeded a judge's order to leave the nation's capital after his arrest. The defense attorneys called several current and former Proud Boys to the stand, trying to portray the group as a drinking club that only engaged in violence for self-defense against anti-fascist activists. Yeah, bull fucking shit. Bull fucking shit. Yeah, bullshit. We've all seen the videos of like these Proud Boys looking for the exact spots to where they can find trouble and then causing that trouble. And then having people conveniently, like, I don't know, fucking Andy No, sitting there waiting to make sure that they catch the perfect video. Yeah, fuck off. The defense attorney called several current blah, 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 blah. If you don't like what some of them say, that doesn't make them guilty. No, it's not what they say. It's what they do and did. The first defendant testifies that the group had no objective that day. Pizzola testified that he got caught up in the craziness. Yeah, whatever. And acted alone on January 6th when he used a riot shield stolen from a police officer to smash a Capitol window. A prosecutor told jurors that Proud Boys leaders wanted to stop Congress from certifying Biden's victory by any means necessary, including force. You want to call this a drinking club? You want to call it a men's fraternal organization? Ladies and gentlemen, let's call it what it is. A violent gang that came together to use force against its enemies. No, they're not. They're not just a gang. They're not just a gang. They're domestic terrorists. Okay? It fits the definition word for word. They are domestic terrorists who do violence to for political aims. This is not like the mob. These are domestic terrorists. Key witnesses for prosecutors, including 2 former Proud Boy members who pleaded guilty to riot-related charges and are cooperating with the government in hopes of getting lighter sentences. The first, Matthew Green, testified that the group members were expecting a civil war and grew increasingly angry about the election results. The second, Jeremy Bertino, testified that he viewed the Proud Boys as leaders of the conservative movement and the tip of the spear after the November 2020 election. I mean, it's crystal clear. It's crystal clear. The Proud Boys' defense mirrored arguments made by lawyers for members of the Oath Keepers who were separately charged with seditious conspiracy. They too said there was no evidence of a plan for group members to attack the Capitol. Over the course of the 2 Oath Keepers trials, prosecutors secured seditious conspiracy convictions against Rhodes and 5 other members, while 3 defendants were acquitted of the charge. Those 3, however, were convicted of obstructing Congress's certification of Biden's electoral victory. Yep. And we'll keep following these trials as they continue. Hope they get what's coming to them. Pieces of shit. All right, folks, it's time to meme. All right. It's time to meme. It's time, folks. Oh, yes. Tucker Carlson is out of Fox News. Yes. Everyone should be happy about this. Why is Tucker Carlson out of Fox News? We don't know. We could speculate. But we do know it was very sudden. And apparently it came from Rupert Murdoch himself. It seems like only Murdoch could take him down. Yep. Pour one out for the Kremlin's most prominent voice overseas, Comrade Carlson. True. Provocative conservative primetime host. Yeah. Okay, dude. That's one way of putting it. Who helped build Fox News into a ratings juggernaut, has been forced out of the network. Fox News announced the stunning departure of its top-rated host Monday with no explanation, but people familiar with the situation who were not authorized to comment publicly said the decision to fire Carlson came straight from Fox Corp Chairman Rupert Murdoch with input from board members and other Fox executives. Carlson's last show was Friday. Fox News Media and Tucker Carlson have agreed to part ways. The network said in a statement, "We thank him for his service to the network as a host and prior to that as a contributor." So basically, that's like what we have. We don't know necessarily why, but whatever it was must have happened quite quickly. But yeah, this is a net good for everybody. This is objectively a net good. having Tucker Carlson off the fucking air is objectively good. Having his show off and not spewing the garbage that he does, getting rid of his very popular White Power Hour, yeah, all of that shit, good stuff. That now that it's gone, it is a net positive for humanity. It's not bad, or is it just asking questions? Oh no, this is good. This is very good. Tucker Carlson being off the air is a good thing. In fact, like, it's a cause for celebration, folks. Tucker Carlson's White Power Hour, like, is no longer. Doesn't matter if they find a replacement for it. Doesn't matter if, like, maybe the person that is going to replace him will be the same. The ratings won't be the same. It will never be the same. Okay? It will never be the same. And Tucker Carlson will also never be the same. He'll never have that same, like, you know, reach. Sure, he might probably find another gig. Maybe, who knows? Maybe Ben Shapiro will hire him. He will never have the same audience. So his reach has been reduced. Given how much anti-trans groomer lies, yeah, which, by the way, fucking horrible. We've seen from him just over the past few weeks alone, which is, like, part of the reason why I kind of, like, tied the whole thing together with, like, Marjorie Taylor Greene trying to, like, say that Dylan Mulvaney is one of the most prominent pedophiles. Like, just absolutely, like, disgusting behavior from Marjorie Taylor Greene. This all kind of ties into it because they want you dead. That's basically it. Him being gone is 1,000% a good thing, and also hello, we're trans and a plural system. Well, hello. Slides in with Jamtoom's raid. Hello, Hildebeest. How's it going? I'm having tacos to celebrate. Nice. Nice. Anyways, we'll finish the celebratory song as we go out, okay? Guess who's wearing an AD t-shirt? Me! Thank you! That's awesome. That's awesome. I appreciate it. Folks, if you have a second, please consider checking out twitch.tv/Hilda_Beast. Phenomenal Canadian content creator. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. Tucker's laugh. Oh man, Tucker is Tucker is just like, his laugh is just oof. Cheers to the shout out. Of course, Tucker was fired from 3 major news networks. Yep. I believe Alio pointed out CNN, MSNBC 2008, and now Fox. They want us dead. Many of them have said so outright, including sitting politicians. But remember the Institute of Sexology and the Pink Triangle. Yep. Yep. They literally, I mean, like, what else are we supposed to derive from, what else are we supposed to derive from continuously painting a group of people as pedophiles? It's on purpose. It's on purpose. Because as you've seen, all these, like, right-wing channels or right-wing Twitter accounts, whatever you see, like, the main line is like, what do we do to pedophiles? Right? I've seen some people, even some of these, like, some of these right-wingers try to use the Bible as justification to kill as like the justification to extrajudiciary judicial whatever the word is, to kill you know, meanwhile they're legalizing child marriage. Yeah, on one hand, like kill on one hand kill pedophiles, on the other, but like not me, right? Because like I need, like I want the child marriage. Maybe, just saying, maybe accusation is just a confession. Accusations are just confessions from these people. Congrats on Tucker Carlson becoming the first TV host in history to be fired by CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News. Damn. This is a cause for celebration right there. Tucker Carlson, this one's to you, buddy. MAGA rappers, those are some of the most cringiest of cringes that you will ever hear. In the Christian Bible, demons are guardians of hell. They're literally the ones that punish evildoers. Calling us demons is literally calling for their own punishment. True. This one's to you, Tucker Carlson. Get wrecked. And maybe while you're at it, never show your fucking face in media ever again. Good fucking riddance. Piece of shit. Anyways. He was on the air for 14 evil years. That's 14 too many. Pretty much all Christian demon mythology was created in the Middle Ages. Checks out. That would make sense. Hopefully we never, I mean, I'm sure this guy's gonna try to like find his way into another show, but hopefully it's never the same. Hopefully this guy's audience is never the same. Alright, folks, on that end, I do have to get going. Can you just, like, take off on a yacht and never return? Yeah, I hope so. Fox Corporation plummet by a staggering 5.4 after the announcement. A fascist Tucker Carlson has been fired from the far-right network. The perfect karma playback for employing a racist like Tucker in the past. I mean, like, you'll be a house hearing regular. Oh, Lord. Oh, God. But, oh, well. Oh, well. Don't worry, Fox. You'll be alright. You've got the Smartmatic lawsuit to deal with next. You'll be alright. Or not. Alright, folks. I gotta get going. Folks, I gotta get going as always. If you enjoy the content, don't forget to hit the follow button. Thanks for celebrating. Oh yeah, no, this is a good cause for celebration. Yeah, probably at the end of the day, you're right. It might be a cost benefit analysis, maybe. Who knows? It might just be as simple as that. Remember, Murdoch said it himself. It's not really even red or blue. It's about green. It's about the money. So maybe in the long term, maybe he realized that it wasn't just worth it. I don't know. It could just be that simple as to why Tucker was let go, fired, canned, whatever. But I guess we'll find out soon. But in the meantime, get fucked. Folks, if you enjoy the content, don't forget to hit the follow button. Yeah, win is a win. True. We're here Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern time. If you guys want to support the channel and you can't monetarily, head on over to the YouTube channel. It really does help us out. We're at 227 subscribers. So please hit that big red subscribe button. Spread the word far and wide that we're here Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you so much for the raid. Thank you so much for the follows. I appreciate that. Jamtoom, thank you so much for the raid. So make sure you follow twitch.tv/Jamtoom, twitch.tv, I don't know, whatever, /Hilda_Beast, and Alio Share. I am tired today, okay? I'm sorry, folks. Alright, folks, as always, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern time. See ya. Yes, thank you to the mods. Thank you, Heat. Thank you, Michael Hassler. Thank you, Mono. I appreciate it. All right, folks, hang tight. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See ya.